Battlefield 6 sensitivity settings are complete trash. Call of Duty and Apex does it far superior. And if you're coming from any of those games to Battlefield 6, you're probably wondering, why in the hell is my aim garbage? And let me tell you exactly why it is, because I figured it out. And Battlefield really needs to implement a couple new fixes that I'm going to recommend. So let's start off with the understanding of exactly what I'm talking about. And to be honest with you, a lot of you are probably not going to understand this or are just going to say, oh, just get a mouse. A lot of us like just to play on controllers. Now, to start off with, to give this a fair shot and understanding of exactly what's going on, let's take the sensitivity setting and drop this down to 10. So that way, a lot of you can kind of understand exactly what we're talking about. Infantry aim input setting is set to linear. That is a straight line across the joystick sensitivity speed, starting at a low speed and going to a high speed of the joystick as you rotate the joystick. Then the infantry zoom input curve. This is a separate curve than the standard aim, okay? This is when you ADS in. Now, you need to remember this zoom Battlefield Bad Company 2. It's very important to understand this. Now let's go back to the game and let's have a little bit of an understanding here of exactly what we're talking about. Now, pay attention to this X value. I've already moved the stick to 0.79. Nothing is happening. We're at dead zone 0. Remember this. We're at dead zone 0. 1.57 between 2.36. This value is the minimal input speed. Now, let's say you're trying to aim down range and you're trying to hit your shots. You can see how this is moving. Let's try to flick to the right. That's really slow. Okay. You need to beef up your sensitivity. Okay, we're going to go to the sensitivity settings and throw this to 100. Now let's try to hit our shots downrange without ADSing in. This is the minimal speed. Pay attention to the X value. This is the slowest you can rotate. So if you're trying to hit your shots downrange, good luck at pre-aiming with the ADS, which you should be doing. Crosshair placement first, then ADS. Now, here is the ADS zoom of the Battlefield Bad Company 2. Pay attention to the X value. See how slow the crosshair is moving? Now pay attention to that fast rotation. Wow, that's quick. So which means you're hitting your shots downrange. You can hit your shots downrange. Flick to the right. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But still not perfect. Now we're going to have to compare between Apex and Call of Duty so you truly have an understanding. And some of you probably still won't comprehend what I'm saying. It's okay. Some IQs are a little bit lower than others. I get it. I understand. You're so blindsided by the game and going, oh, you're just a Call of Duty player. Well, guess what? This Call of Duty player is bringing to light what's going on with Battlefield. And yeah, I'm losing my brain cells because of all those stupid comments I'm reading. Now we are going to compare Apex to Battlefield 6, sensitivity settings and curves. With Apex, you have the ability to adjust and visually see the curve that your joystick is going to respond on. Now, if you take a look at the bottom of the screen or over there, you're going to notice that the graph is a straight line across. As you move this curve, you can see how this joystick curve adjusts. The graph, as it goes up, is the speed, and the line going across, horizontal, is the travel of your joystick as it goes along that graph. And it will determine how your joystick speeds up as it travels along. Now, unfortunately, there's no real way to adjust the minimal input speed that's first registered. Now, let's take a look at the minimal speed. Pay attention to the X values here, okay? So here is the minimal input of 0.79. Maximum rotational speed. Pay attention to the rotational speed of linear. Now, we're going to go take a look at the sensitivity settings and going to adjust the curve response to 10. This is the minimal input speed. We're going to have to zoom in and take a look at this. 0.79, it is actually moving. Look at that. It's actually moving. It's a very small movement. So you got micro adjustment control to hit your long distance shots. Very important. A lot of noobs out there are talking trash in the comments, but clearly can't comprehend what I'm trying to teach. Maximum rotational speed. Now, let's go into the settings and let's increase the rotational speed or yaw speed and pitch speed. Turn it all the way up to the max. Okay? This is an increased sensitivity. Now let's take a look at the increased sensitivity, but let's zoom in and let's take a look at the minimal input. 0.79. Still has a very good minimal input. Rotational speed is not as fast as I would like it to be, but it is more responsive. It's better. Far superior than Battlefield 6. I would say better than Call of Duty, kind of on par. I'm just used to Call of Duty, but this is actually pretty good for the sensitivity control when the curve is adjusted. And as you go along and adjust the curves in the sensitivity of this game, it is a definite improvement overall. So let's say if we drop down the curve to down to 5 and see how the sensitivity goes then. Now you can see as the curve goes down to more linear, the minimal input becomes faster. Unusable. Can't do that. It's unless there's a way in this game we could adjust the minimal speed. I feel like we need a few more things in these games, like minimal speed and maximum speed adjustable to exactly how we want, so that way we can match our joystick feels to whatever game we are playing across the board. I'm talking Call of Duty, Battlefield, Fortnite. It doesn't matter what you play, you should be able to fine-tune everything. Now, let's take a look at Call of Duty and see what its curves are like and its minimal speed and maximum rotation is like. Now we are going to compare Call of Duty maximum sensitivity with a linear response curve. Okay? Now let's set to 100 response curve scope. Let's put that to 0. And let's compare the minimal response curve of linear. This is Call of Duty. Now pay attention to the X value. 0.79. We're actually moving. Now let's zoom in so you can see this. 0.79 going to the right. We're actually moving to the right. We went up a little bit. Going down. We're on the shoulder now. We're moving off the shoulder. Going down, up. I mean, I just can't keep my hand steady. There we go. Maximum rotational speed. This is Call of Duty's linear. True linear. With no curve. Maximum sensitivity. I swear. My God, if people could just understand what I'm trying to talk about here, chat. Call of Duty gives you the minimal input on linear, starting at the lowest input possible on the sensitivity. We're on dead zone 0 on the game, dead zone 1 on the controller. This is giving you the smallest input control possible. 0.79. Rotating to the right. And you just go a little bit faster. A little bit faster. A little bit faster. See? Look at that. Look at that. This is linear. The problem with Battlefield is that the beginning of the linear is too fast. Now, let's take a look at what the problem is. We got to think about this. Whatever the game sets the linear, the beginning of a linear is going to be your RPM. Either your rotations per minute is going to be 1 rotation per minute to 6, 7 rotations per minute, or 200 rotations per minute? That is a really good question, because the game, I believe all games, should have the ability to set and adjust your rotations per minute on the beginning of your linear adjustments on the game. Call of Duty is doing it very well. It's a very slow, small rotations per minute. Very small, as you can see. Easy adjustments. You're able to go in between the head of the player, back and forth. It is possible on a straight linear with Call of Duty. That is a very small rotation per minute, which means that it's very smooth to start off with. It's slow to start off with. In comparison to Battlefield, it's like that. It's jittery. It like instant go, instant. It's instant. It's jumpy. Where Call of Duty, it's just smooth on the takeoff. Apex is smooth on the takeoff once you put a curve on it. Okay? Now, we can go into the sensitivity settings and adjust the curve of the linear and give it a nice curve of 1.0. Now, with the curve of 1.0, we can see that the rotation slowly picks up, it's smoother, and then it speeds up to max. It's not like a straight line across the graph like what you saw in Apex. Every game needs to have the ability to adjust your minimal rotations per minute and your maximum rotations per minute. Because some games like Apex, I feel like it's too slow on its maximum. And then its minimum on straight linear is too fast. And when people don't understand what I'm talking about, hopefully by this time, with this detailed video that I've created, hopefully you guys understand exactly what I'm talking about. And that is a major problem with Battlefield 6 and the majority of all other video games out there. Don't get me started on Fortnite. Fortnite has a dead zone minimal of 5. Why? Why 5? Why can't I go to 0? It screws everything up. Having a dead zone that big on Fortnite. I refuse to play the game on controller on Fortnite because of how horrible the dead zones are. So do me a favor, drop a follow, hit that like button, and let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced something like this. Do you think the game should have a little bit more of a universal design on how the joysticks can be calibrated? We need curves, adjustment of curves. We need the minimal rotations per minute. We need the maximum rotations per minute. Numbers we can punch in and we can get the exact perfect joystick calibration that we need. It's time for things to change. And before one person in the comment goes, "Oh, you want your aim assist," shut the hell up, you mouse gamer. We want proper controls on joystick for the best calibration possible. Because some of us want to sit on a couch, sit back with a controller and play a game. I mean, I know, I get it. My setup looks crazy. Those who know my setup, I'm all about finding perfection with my setup and ergonomics of control, okay? So hit that follow, hit that like, and let's get the gaming industry fixed with controllers. Hell yeah.